I want to ask you, what is the concept of, I think you call it the natural Albania?
What is the natural Albania?
Instead of a greater Albania, that is sort of the natural borders of Albania.
Very interestingly, greater Albania or natural Albania or whatever different Albania in terms of size, in terms of geography or whatever, are not notions that have been produced by us.
Η Χίος απέχει από την τουρκική ακτή 3,5 ναυτικά μίλια μόνο. Μετανάστες έφταναν πάντα, τα πολλά τελευταία χρόνια στο νησί, ποτέ δεν βρέθηκαν πάνω από 80 με 100 στο έδαφος του. Και έπειτα, ξαφνικά, το 2015, οι 100 έγιναν χιλιάδες.
When the wind come, we're swimming. When the wind come, we're flying, you know. Nah, this is not life. It's not our life.
Κυρίες και κύριοι, καλησπέρα. Είμαι ο Αλέξη Παπαχελάς. Καλώς ορίσατε στις ιστορίες. Απόψε θα δούμε δύο διαφορετικά θέματα. Το ένα είναι μια αποστολή του Παύλου Τσίμα που δείχνει τα μυστικά πίσω από την κρίση του προσφυγικού. Μια αποστολή στοιχείο που νομίζω ότι πραγματικά θα φωτίσει το παρασκήνιο αυτής της κρίσης που συγκλονίζει αυτή την ώρα τη χώρα. Το δεύτερο θέμα είναι μια αποκλειστική συνέντευξη που κάναμε με τον ισχυρό άντρα στα Τύρανα της Αλβανίας, τον Έντι Ράμα, τον πρωθυπουργό της Αλβανίας. Πρέπει να σας πω ότι είναι μια συνέντευξη που έγινε την περασμένη Πέμπτη, πριν δηλαδή βγει η απόφαση στα Γιάννηνα για τους δύο Αλβανούς υπήκοους οι οποίοι έχουν συλληφθεί με προπαγανδιστικό υλικό για την αλυτρωτική Αλβανία. Και πρέπει επίσης να σας πω ότι σήμερα ο Έντι Ράμα επικοινώνησε με τον πρωθυπουργό, τον κύριο Αλέξη Τσίπρα. Ίσως ένιωσε την ανάγκη να δώσει κάποιες εξηγήσεις για όσα έχει δηλώσει σε αυτή τη συνέντευξη, η οποία νομίζω ότι έχει πολύ μεγάλο ενδιαφέρον. Είναι, θα έλεγε κανείς, μια συνέντευξη για γερά νεύρα. Πάμε να τη δούμε. Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much for agreeing to do this interview.
Thank you for coming.
Let me ask you, first of all, how do you see your relationship with Greece, Albania's relationship with Greece at this point?
I think if we see it through the big picture, it's a very important relation. And it has been clear also in our foreign policy strategy that Greece is a strategic partner with whom we have many things to share and, of course, many things to achieve for a better future. But in the same time, we have to go time after time in the smaller picture, which has to do with pending issues that, in my view, we need to solve with dialogue, with mutual generosity and understanding, and with the clear conviction that the interests of both Greeks and Albanians is much bigger than what these issues can do to us in impeding to build together a brighter future.
Now, I mean, I want to ask you, I remember an interview you gave us back in 2003, I think it was. You were the mayor then. And you said something that really struck me. You said that the problem with the Balkan countries and our countries is that there is too much history. And then I remember that, and then I saw the posting you did at the Facebook about an Albanian saving the Parthenon. And I said, something has changed with Έντι Ράμα here. Has something changed?
Isn't it amazing? I couldn't believe when I saw the buzz, this picture created in Greece, while I'm simply maintaining pictures chronicle in my Facebook, which goes on every day at 8 p.m. and which has to do with history, but seen from the angle of someone who doesn't believe that politics is about replacing historians, but who believes that politics is about making history. And in that respect, knowing about our past, about our people, in the past, about events that occurred in the past, helps us to understand better ourselves in the future. So I haven't changed. On the contrary, I think that this is a detail that shows a lot about how we can get lost in translation. Because what I said was meant to be not only friendly, but also revealing about the relation that goes far back in time and that has so many shining examples of people that we know, people that we don't know, Albanians and Greeks that have made for each other and for our countries very good things.
But, I mean, despite whether it's accurate historically or not, you must have known that this was going to create a stir in Greece.
No, no. On the contrary, the fact that Albanians have contributed to the good of Greece and Greek society, and the fact that many people were speaking Albanian at that time doesn't make of Athens a Greek city, an Albanian city. So I wanted simply to tell that this is about the very fact that we have been so tight because of our history and because of these people that we have always to think how many important things we can do for each other and how good we can be to each other instead of drowning in very, obscure waters of nationalism, of hatred, of conflict, and of media manipulation that is a result of politicians that look more for the next elections than for the next generations.
To close this chapter, I mean, what if our Prime Minister, Mr. Tsipras, posted on the Facebook a posting saying that your national hero, Skender Bey, who, according to some serious historians, was at least half Greek, saved Albania? How would you and how the average Albanian would react to that?
First of all, I don't think it's the same, because it doesn't mean an offense. On the contrary, it means nice historical fact that one Albanian found himself in the right place, in the right time, was the right person to make this negotiation at that time and to avoid the bombarding of Acropolis. So he could be very well Greek, he could be very well Chinese, but it happened he was Albanian. And I didn't want to say that Albanians saved Greece. I wanted simply to say that our life has been so interconnected and our people have been so merged one to the other in different periods of time that we have so many bright examples that can learn us a lot about how much we have done for each other when we have meant good and how much we can do for each other when we mean good. So it's not about contesting the nationality of national heroes, because at the end, if we go deep, 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 we may find ourselves that we are cousins. So what?
I want to ask you, what is the concept of, I think you call it the natural Albania?
What is the natural Albania?
Instead of a greater Albania, that is of the natural borders of Albania.
Very interestingly, greater Albania or natural Albania or whatever different Albania in terms of size, in terms of geography or whatever, are not notions that have been produced by us. So natural Albania is a notion that has been produced by others who have feared it or who have created it because of certain agendas. But it's like, blaming Greeks today for the Megala idea which was a kind of idea of certain period that has nothing to do with our times. So the natural Albania, if I may say, is European Albania that needs to be part of this European family. And yes, we have a very interesting history because we are a nation with two states. We have Albania, we have Kosovo, we have Albanian people living in south of Serbia, living in Macedonia, living in Montenegro. So what? There is no plan, there is no foreseeable, sane idea to collect all this in one natural or greater Albania. Yes, we can be all part of a greater Europe, which would be really great if we would have all of us in, like citizens of it, and where borders become irrelevant in terms of communication, in terms of exchanges, in terms of living together in the same European space.
Just to make clear about this, your official policy is that Albania keeps its borders the way they are today.
No doubt.
But then, you know, the question is, we've seen in Albanian schools, or the other day the Greek government caught two people working for the Albanian government, you know, carrying literature with irredentist kind of propaganda. And, you know, we see occasionally this kind of maps, you know, with the greater Albania.
What does it mean, irredentist propaganda? I don't think that is irredentist to tell our kids where Albanians lived. And I don't think it's irredentist to tell people that it was an area that was named Chamoria and where Albanians lived and where they, unfortunately, this is not what we tell kids, but this is what we are seeing, people cannot even go. Can you imagine it? People cannot even drive and travel and go there where their homes were, where their families were. Because of what? We don't have any claim, and nobody can have such a claim like border change strategy to get part of Greece or to get a part of Serbia or to get a part of Macedonia and to make it a natural Albania. No, we simply believe that it's time to overcome all these obstacles of the past and to look each other in the eyes and say, is it possible that people of 80 years old, women and men, that have been forced to leave their homes cannot go back to visit? Is it possible that people that are from this region, Albanians, cannot cross the border of a great European neighbor country as Greece? Is it possible? What is irredentistic on that? There is nothing. By the way, I want to say that exactly by being hostage of such subjects and by looking to them with the eyes of the past, we nourish nationalism, we fuel nationalism, we give to nationalists arguments and fuel to exist. So why to not see it differently? And why not say, yes, there is a problem. These people have been eradicated by their homes. Their homes are in Greece, and they have the right to go back if they want. They have the right to claim their properties if they want. What's the point?
About this, one is, as you know, there are very vivid memories from World War II where some of these, not these people, but their parents and the grandparents, they committed some crimes against Greeks during the occupation. And the other question is, they can go through the Greek legal system, they can go to the European Court of Justice and claim what they want.
Yes, but I'm talking about crossing the border. I'm talking about traveling freely as they travel everywhere in Europe, as Albanians travel freely, other Albanians travel freely in Greece, they can't. Their passports are just abused in the Greek border and they are sent back. I'm talking about old people, 80 years old woman I met, and I couldn't believe it. She said to me, I have a dream to see for my last time in life the house from where I was taken out when I was a child. I can't. Of course, there were people collaborating, but where in this world we have seen generations being cursed with the impossibility to have their own rights because of predecessors having been collaborators. And where in the world we have seen a whole community to be labeled as collaborator. That's why I'm saying we should not go in these details. And you are right, you know, when politicians start to write history, they can do only harm. But politicians are obliged to read history and to take the lessons. And last but not least, do the Greek people know that we are in a state of war? So there is a royal decree still in place. And I am telling to my friends in Greece, I've told to George Papandreou, I've told to Samaras, I've told to Alexis Tsipras. By the way, people I respect. Papandreou, a man of great intentions. Samaras, a man of great resolve. Tsipras, a man of great passion. That, listen, why do not get rid of this state of war law? And so then we can tell these people simply, it's okay, because this state of war law is used as an impediment for them to go through the legal system.
But this was revoked in 1987.
No.
I mean, officially has been revoked.
No. And we live in a Balkanic perfect paradox. We have a friendship treaty with Greece, and we have a state of the war law in the same time. Our friends say, what does it mean? It's nothing. Okay. So, by the way, if it's nothing, why we don't take it off? It's nonsense. So these are things that we can easily solve if we don't think about the next elections, if we think about the next generation. We can do great things together. And by the way, you know, I cannot stand the fact that there are people back there that think of me as a person with anti-Greek sentiments. But I'm happy because there are many people here that think of me as a pro-Greek. So I must be doing something very right because nobody seems happy. So it's okay. I challenge you. There is no map of any greater Albania in any school book.
As you know, there was an important agreement at some point to define the sea borders between Greece and Albania. You were instrumental in taking this to the court, and a decision was made to revoke it. Your opponent, Mr. Berisha, said that this was Turkey's hand in all of this. Well, how do you respond to it? I mean, he said that in Parliament.
I have imposed a rule to myself. I never speak about my opponents in English, meaning I never...
Well, you can say it in Albanian and we can translate.
No. I mean, I never, in a foreign language.
Yeah.
I want to say, I don't like to talk about local politics to an external audience because I don't think it's ethical. And let me say this. When this agreement was made, we got to know through some civil society people that there was a problem with that. And of course it was a moment where some people thought, great, let's jump on it and let's make of it a big political point in our agenda against the government. It's easy, you know, it's always easy to play with national sentiments and to get some points. But it's the most harmful thing you can do to your country. So I said, no, no. I said, give it to the hands of judges, experts, and let have a process. And by the way, it's the only decision I remember that our Constitutional Court passed with full consensus, 9-0. Something is wrong in this agreement. And it can be wrong. What's the problem? And I said to my friends in Athens, to all of them, listen, let's sit down, we solve it. Where there is a will, there is a way. We have this view based on our Constitutional Court decision. Let's solve it. Let's sit down with experts. I have proposed even to have a third party, which can be chosen by both of us consensually, and to keep it in the expert level and to not make of it, you know, a big Greek tragedy about who is going to win and who is going to die.
But, you know, our experts, they tell me that it's really striking to them that the decision of the Supreme Court, a couple of paragraphs, which are the key paragraphs, are incredibly similar to diplomatic demarches that Turkey has made to Greece about our own bilateral relationships. Is there all a coincidence there was no Turkish hand in this? You can assure me that there was no Turkish hand in this?
Listen, you know, for sure, as a very navigated man in politics by the side of journalism, that we live in a very fertile ground of conspiracy theories, and there is always something behind when something happens. I can assure you that there is nothing of the sort, and it's not a secret that we have also established a strategic partnership with Turkey. It's not a secret that I am a good friend of the president. It's not a secret that we have very good relations. But all this has happened in a time when we were in opposition and we had no contact with no one in the Turkish sides. Just no contact. And this is easily to be proven. So I met for the first time Prime Minister Erdogan a few months before I was elected. First time. And I need to tell you that we never, ever had this discussion. Never, ever had this discussion. So it's a nonsense. And on the other hand, yes, exactly because we have a different position, our friends in Greece have a different position in the expert level, we need to talk. We need to talk, and my belief is that between neighbors like us, and after a history that has shown how great things Albanians and Greeks have made together, I'm not going back to history to tell you how much I think we have done for Greece and how much Greece has done for us. You know, I never forget that we have so many Albanians living today in Greece, contributing for Greece, but after having been received as brothers, as sisters, by the Greek population. Not very generously by Greek politics, by the way, in the 90s, but very generously by Greek people. You remember very well how Greeks were received here, and when they were in hunger because of the war. So there are so many fantastic examples of what we have done for each other. And as there are moments when politics have created so much troubles. So in moments when we have problems, we need to talk more, we need to discuss more, we need to put more will and wisdom to resolve the problems, because at the end, you know, we live in a region where from the very small things, big blows happen. And last but not least, from a very small thing, a First World War started because of this region.
I've been told that because this agreement is in limbo, that you have asked for information about some exploration that Greece is doing in the Ionian or in Epirus. Is that the case?
Listen, we are talking about a contested area where supposedly there is also important resource of oil and gas. And I have always said, you know, why we don't see it as a big opportunity to sort it out together? And why we don't progress more in cooperation all over the places? Because we can do so much together. And Albania can be a so fantastic opportunity for many Greek investors. But also, Greece can have so many advantages from cooperating with Albania and Albanians. So I think we should focus on one notion. We should talk, and resolve things with patience and with will, because there is no chance to foresee a different future than a future of cooperation with each other.
Let me ask you about Himara. As you know, there was a lot of controversy about that.
Sure.
I understand that there's sort of a program of demolishing all kinds of illegal dwellings around the country, but it looks very strange to me when, you know, these residences specifically were torn down around August 15th, which, as you know, is a big religious holiday for us, you know, Greeks. And as you know, the Greek minority here, they say that this is part of the de-Hellenization program of the South. Your response?
Listen, I'll give you facts, and I challenge you personally or as a media group to investigate on it. And if you prove the contrary, I'm ready to ask a big pardon publicly. I have engaged with my government in a program named Urban Renaissance, which is a large-scale program of renewal of cities. And because of this program, we have demolished all over the country in these last 3 years 9,150 buildings all over the country. Mostly illegal and partly legal. And in case of legal, we have gone through procedures of expropriation based on the Albanian law. In Himara, it's the same thing, the same program. The mayor wants to renew public space. After having done the waterfront, now it's the second big project. And it's about 18 buildings. 12 of them are illegal. 6 of them are legal. The 6 of them are going through the same procedure of expropriation. And when we talk buildings, you should understand kiosks, washing car places, 1 or 2 little motels, if I'm not wrong, 1 house that is lived by someone, some old houses that are completely ruins. So, if, in this case, the procedure is not the very same than we have used all over the country for 9,150 buildings that have been erased from the soul, I owe you a big pardon.
But do you think that this policy should sort of be sensitive to the local traditions, the local culture?
Listen, I don't want to enter in another discussion about what is Himara. Is Himara a place where there are Greek-speaking Albanians or a place where there is a Greek minority? Because this is not for this interview. But I'm telling you that there is no country in the world where, because you represent a minority, you are not subjects of the law in the country you live. The trouble would be if, because you are a minority, you are subject to an abuse of the law. But this is not the case, and has never been the case. And by the way, I'm very proud of this country, because not during my tenure, but since I remember, and through whatever I've gone through in reading, never being of another nationality has caused you the smallest problem. We can't imagine to tell someone here from the Greek minority, to be a sportsman and play in our national team, you have to have a different name, for example. Things that have happened, you know, but not here. So I am telling you that the Greek minority might have a lot of problems, but they are the exact similar problems of Albanians.
Let me ask you about another issue, which to me it looks really insane. As you know, there are thousands of Greek soldiers buried in Albania from World War II. There's been a lot of discussion about creating burial grounds and so on, but this is in limbo too.
I agree with you.
Why is it you're not moving ahead with this?
It is insane. I agree with you. It is insane, but there are many things together that need to be solved, because they risk to become insane. So what we have done since day one, we have asked our Greek friends to sit down with a plan and to go through the issues. And maritime definition of border, war, state of war law, toponyms, this issue of burial of Greek soldiers, and many other things, small things that need to be gone through as an agenda for the future, combined with what are the pillars of a much stronger strategic partnership and cooperation we should build together. So this is what we are fighting for, and this is what we are looking for, because we think that it's time to solve it as a package, and we have had a lot of good response from the Greek side since the Samaras government, and then later on, so we are working on it. And it's really pity that this kind of, you know, little things become so inflammatory. You know, some buildings in Himara, you know, 18 among 9,150. You know, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that can involve, you know, the public opinions, the states, the ministries of foreign affairs. It's crazy.
I mean, this is a historical issue, and it could be solved very easily. I mean, this specific issue. Why don't you just go ahead and solve it? I mean, it shouldn't be part of a bigger agreement. It's not a business or a diplomatic issue.
It takes two to tango, you know, and we need to do it together. And exactly, this is the same question I pose to myself sometimes. Why this is not being solved? What the matter with this, you know? And I very much fear that this is taken time after time in hostage when there is the feel of blood in the sense of next elections in Greece. Every time that an election approaches, I see things getting a bit out of control, not on the side of the Greek government, to be very frank with you, but on the side of the public opinion, because of politicians, of media, of social media that fuel a certain, you know, a certain bloodthirst agenda that then brings things back to basis.
But, you know, in Athens, there's the exact opposite perception, I have to say, that you have an election, that you need the Tsamis for, you know, a coalition partner, and that's why you're raising this issue.
Listen, I don't want to play here the good boy that is embarrassed in front of some bad boy. No. We may have also our own share of responsibility in that.
Are you concerned that, you know, if the level of the conversation between the two countries is raised above a certain level, and Greece was very generous, as you know, in terms of your EU application back in 2014. Are you worried that this could become a controversy and that Greece could use a veto?
Listen, I think it's a question people make me a lot about our relations with Serbia, you know. And people tend to think that our effort, and my personal effort to open a new chapter of cooperation with Serbia is a kind of generosity. It is not. It's in our interest. So it's not generosity from the Greek side to support Albania's EU integration. It's in Greece's interest. Of course, it goes very well for us, as it goes very well for Serbs, that we are extending our hand of peace and cooperation. But it's in our interest. What the hell, you know, we would do, and Greece would do, if this country would go worse and worse and would not be in the path of integration, you know. And you know something about European Union, you know, more you are in, more you have to be accountable. So if there are problems of accountability, they can be solved better by having us in EU. You know it. So I think, yes, Greece has been very loyal friends to us in all the years, has supported our integration process no matter what, and has done exactly what is in its best interest and should continue to do so. It's nonsense to think that instead of solving our issues, we bring them in an upper level and we, you know, become another reason for people in Brussels to say, what the hell, you know, these guys are history producers.
But you're not worried about the Greek veto then? I mean, it's something completely out of the realm for you.
I don't think that this is a sane thing to even think, because veto for what? Veto for what? You know, it's like incredible. And I told you, if it's veto for the illegal buildings, what does it mean? If it's veto because we're speaking firmly about the need to solve some issues, we are in our rights. And I think it's in our common interest, so veto for what?
In closing, I mean, let me just ask you again where we started. You as a Prime Minister of this country, you don't have the idea of this greater or natural Albania as a plan, right? I mean, as a strategic plan.
Listen, I'm too tall to think that I need to be taller, so I have never suffered any complex of greatness. And still, you know, I strongly believe that our future should be defined by our common will to be part of the European Union, of the European family, whatever this will mean in the coming years. Maybe Europe will change in one way or the other, then the Union will adopt one way or the other to this kind of changes. But there is no future in being isolated in a nationalist bunker. We have had it 50 years. What the hell we would want to prove again? So we need to be as much as possible an open society. We need to be all together, of course, Albanians, but under the European family roof. What we'll do war. What we'll do, we'll change borders for what? You know, we don't want to make Albania greater geographically. We want to make Albania greater in terms of democracy, in terms of prosperity, in terms of society. So
it would help in that way, in that manner, if in schools and in communities around the world. I mean, the government didn't promote these maps with like a greater Albania.
There are no maps of greater Albania anywhere. And by the way, we have another point in our talks plan with our Greek friends, which is about the textbooks. And we are working with them, you know, to have a common view on things that are sensitive to both sides. But I challenge you, there is no map of any greater Albania in any school book. If there is a mention of where Albanians have lived or where they live, this is history. This is not any basis for having a greater, whatever does it mean, Albania in terms of borders, you know. I understand somehow, but I don't want to accept this paranoia of becoming crazy just by listening the word cham or chamaria. What does it mean? This was an area where our people lived.
Well, it's different if it's an area, if it's different if there are people who want it to become an autonomous area within Greece. You understand the difference.
Who want it a long time ago, you mean?
Well, there are still people who want that now.
No, come on.
Oh, there.
There are still people. There are still people in Greece who talk about this madness of Vorio Epirus. You know it, but I don't take them seriously, and I would never dare to kind of even take 1 second. No offense to you, to your prime minister by talking about them. You know, they are crazy people. They think that Greece has to go up until where is the middle of Albania, but this is just, you know, turbo folk that unfortunately we have to live with. And let me say, more we are stuck in this kind of issues and more we are lost in translation among us, normal people that want to build a common future, more we fuel this turbo folk.
So having said all this, I assume you will avoid another Facebook posting about Greece or the Parthenon? Or...
Listen, I think better better on your side, you look at it with some generosity and you understand that this is a great thing, you know. This is a great thing. It would be offensive if I would have been talking about an Albanian that has did harm to Greeks with pride. But I am talking about an Albanian that has contributed because he was simply in the right place in the right moment to do something great. And if you want me, I can post in Facebook someone else about some Greeks that have done something great for us. It's our history. And we should not shy away from it. We should be really grateful to all these people, you know, to all the Albanians that have lived in Greece and have done great things, to the Greeks that have lived here, have done great things.
One thing out of curiosity, because I know your mother is a great translator from Greek, so I was always wondering whether you speak Greek.
I don't. My mother a little, my grandmother a lot. Although they are from the only village in the row of Himara area that never spoke Greek, but my brother speaks. We have been to Greece, by the way. Greece has been the first land I visited as a free citizen because we had some cousins of my mother in Corfu. And they are there since a long time. Albanians that have left Funo a long time ago. And to me it was difficult, but to my brother it was easy, so he speaks Greek.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister. Thank you.